5-5, day one. So what you're going to hear me say, and you're going to see the book say a lot, is composition of functions. Composition of functions. Now, it sounds difficult, but what you're doing is you're just taking multiple functions like f of x, g of x, you're adding them and subtracting them. That's part of it. We'll talk more about it, but don't be intimidated by the phrase composition of functions. It's pretty simple if you can get through the language difficulty part. And there's some symbolism in the math that could throw you a little bit, but it's real simple at the end of the day. So let's just go. It says find the sum of f of x equals 3x plus 4 and g of x equals x squared minus 5x plus 2. So the sum means add. Now they might say find this. It's saying the same thing. Take f and g, function f, function g, and add them together. They might say it like this. Regardless of how they say it, what's f of x? 3x plus 4. We're going to add it, the sum, to g of x, which is this business. X squared minus 5x plus 2. It's stuff you've been doing. You're just adding like terms, but now they're presenting it to you in what I would say a more complex way. So you just have to sift through the language of math and just see that it's not that bad. So now we're going to look for like terms. So x squared, 3x minus 5x is negative 2x. 4 and 2 is 6. So this equals this, and this equals this. And it looks fancy, but you're just adding, looking for like terms. Now, then they're going to say find the difference of f of x and g of x. Now notice what comes first, f of x. That's kind of important with a problem that's referring to difference, subtraction. Because 7 minus 2 is not the same thing as 2 minus 7. So we have to pay attention to the order. We could screw this order up and we're just adding, so you're going to get the same answer. But you have to be careful here. F of x comes first. So look at it. Comes first, comes first. G of x comes second, comes second, comes second. So this is just saying differently, subtract g from f. This is saying subtract g from f. So what's f? F is 3x plus 4. We want to subtract g. Now here's the key. This is g. If we want to subtract all of it, we better insert our own parentheses. Minus 5x plus 2. And then we need to distribute this negative to everything because we got to subtract all of g. So 3x plus 4 minus x squared plus 5x, because the negative times a negative is positive, and then that negative hits the 2, so it's negative 2. Now I got to look for like terms here. Negative x squared, 3x and 5x is 8x, 4 minus 2 is 2. Now a lot of you would say, well, I thought you want to keep your trinomial squared term positive. Don't worry about that. We're not factoring. You're just adding and subtracting things and you're just getting a result, okay? So this is the answer to this, answer to this, answer to that question. So they're all three of these things are the same. They might ask it differently. You just need to, don't panic. It just means subtract. A little bit of a story problem. I believe in the first trimester we were introduced to this formula. Revenue of a company is equal to the price offered for that certain product times the demand. Interesting formula. So they're going to piggyback this and kind of talk about functions at the same time. And in this story problem on page 274, it tells you that a certain company's demand is given by the formula 5,000 minus 10x. So we know that this part of the formula is our demand. So we're going to put that right here. 5,000 minus 10x. And we know the price is set at X. Fancy, you could say the price is X. Okay, so that's super complicated to think of it that way. We're just saying let the price be X. So the price is X. Now they're asking for the revenue, so we're going to make that fancy looking. So the revenue is based on X. So there's the demand, there's the price, just multiply it out. So 5,000X minus 10X squared is the revenue. So if I put the price in here, 10 bucks, 20 bucks, 30 bucks, you're going to get this graph. It's a parabola, and not that you have to, but you want to peak that revenue and find the X. If we were to graph it like decimals, we'd be able to figure out what price should we ask to maximize the revenue. But this is all they want. So really all they want is you just to multiply these two functions together. So really they just wanted you to go d of x, demand, times p of x. I mean, that's the fancy way. So that's just x times 5,000 minus 10x. So that's it for that one. Example 3, I think this is it for your pre-lesson. So once again, here's a math problem talking about functions. We give you some instructions. Define the quotient. See, immediately you know division when you see that word of, and then they give you another hint. Take f, divide it by g. And they give you what f is, x minus 7, that's what f is. And then they tell you that g of x is this trinomial. So this trinomial needs to go underneath. So how could they ask this same question symbolically? Right here. Just take the function of x, divide it by the function of g. Different way of asking you to do the same thing. So if the instructions say, find this, just a division problem, it might say this. That's a little clearer, which it ultimately means this. Now, when I first looked at this, I thought, uh-oh, this is long division. 2x squared minus 13x minus 7 into x minus 7. Remember the rule, you got to look at this and ask, what do you got to multiply this by to get this? You see, that's not even what they want. They want you to factor this and just reduce it. So, you look at this trinomial, they kind of gave us a nasty one. 2x squared minus 13x minus 7. So remember, this is called a not a one. Those of you who had me in first trimester, you'll remember I gave that a nickname. So to factor this, you could sit there and go trial and error all day. But I taught the rainbow technique. So 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. 2 factors of negative 14 that add up to negative 13. That'd be negative 14 and 1. So I'd rewrite it, 2x squared. I'm going to replace this middle term with these 2. So minus 14x plus 1x minus 7. Put some parentheses in there. And take a 2x out of here. I'd be left with x minus 7. Notice there's a match here. I got to take something out of there, so I take a 1 out. X minus 7. And then notice I have a match. So this would be x minus 7 all over x minus 7, 2x plus 1. And remember the factor stuff? If I kind of just put parentheses around that, in my mind, I'm like, aha, let's cancel. So I end up getting 1 over 2x plus 1. That's the answer for this problem, and this problem. They all mean the same. Ultimately, just divide, but really they don't want you to divide, they want you to simplify. So there you go. A little tricky,